Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate the opportunity to offer a couple of remarks at the subcommittee here. Today's hearing is about regulatory reform. It's about capital formation, but ultimately it's about jobs. And I've had the opportunity to work with bio and pharmaceutical businesses that create good-paying jobs in my district in Pennsylvania. And they've shared with me how reg relief related to capital formation would positively affect their research and their ability to hire, to create jobs and to hire folks from Pennsylvania. For every dollar that they must spend on compliance, that is money being taken away from research and development. And the problem isn't that they're necessarily opposed to regulation. It's that they are unfairly being treated as large companies despite the fact that they're small and emerging growth companies. This one-size-fits-all approach to regulation is just the type of barrier to economic growth that we need to be tearing down. That is why I've introduced the Fostering Innovation Act of 2013, and this is a bill which is identical to legislation that was passed by this subcommittee in the 112th Congress. The Fostering Innovation Act would help provide permanent regulatory relief for small and emerging growth companies by more accurately reflecting the difference in large and small companies. For instance, currently a company with market capitalization or public float of $75 million or more is subject to Section 404B of Sarbanes Oxley, and that requires external audits of internal controls. This bill would raise that to a more accurate number of $250 million. Secondly, my bill would apply a much-needed revenue test for determining which companies must comply with regulations like 404B. Currently, a company could have a public float exceeding $250 million, but be making very little money and still considered to be, by the SEC, a large company. As Mr. Moak from Bio can attest, this is actually something fairly common in the biotech industry, and in fact would apply to the two companies that I mentioned earlier that I'm working with in my district. So I just wanted to come briefly highlight the Fostering Innovation Act. I'd like to thank all of the individuals here to testify today, touching on this bill perhaps, and I appreciate the chairman's call in the hearing. This hearing is extremely important for, as I said, capital formation, but ultimately for job creation across our country. Thank you again, Mr. Chairman, for the time.
I thank the gentleman.